Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back once again. I'm Nicodemus Kane. Today is January the 18th of 2022. I had to take a little little drink there. I had a bit of a coughing fit whenever I came downstairs. Something's trying to push its way out of my lungs, so I may have to get that out. But anyways, yeah, today is January the 18th. That is a 118. Tomorrow is a 119. I'm not going to say anything's going to happen. Just watch yourself. It's also a Wednesday. Wednesdays are Odin days. So just be warned. Be warned. Just keep your eyes open. I couldn't even remotely say that something will happen, but it seems like every time that that the powers that should not be um, stage something or do something, it's usually on a Wednesday or a Friday. That seems to be their mo at this point. Anyways, today we're going to read Psalm 91. There are no notes about this. It just says Psalm 91. This is about half a page. And then it stops on the next page. All right. So I should hopefully be able to get all this without any breaks. Because again, sometimes if it's 2 pages when I flip the page, sometimes I kind of miss what I was saying on the first try. But I haven't really had a chance to look through this one. Everything turned on today for me fairly quickly, so I didn't have to wait. So we will get into this. Okay, Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in the darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder. The young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. Amen. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it definitely feels like something is breaking up in my lungs. It's like I thought I was completely done with it last week, and now this week it just feels like I don't know. It also it's been getting very cold outside, and I've been turning the heat up to compensate, but we're finding out that some rooms in this house don't keep as hot as others, so we're kind of shifting our space heaters around to try to match where everything is. So it could have just gotten cold in the room. Usually, when it gets cold in the bedroom, my wife and I both wake up congested. Usually, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I have something. It feels like something's wanting to pop out. Hopefully, it'll be the last thing that pops out, and then I'll be good. All right, let's go back over this though. This was a good one. Let's start at the top. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. And trust in the Father. Let God be the truth, and let all men be liars. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Now we have seen this before. He shall cover thee with his feathers. It's very similar to as a I don't remember what exactly it says, but it's as a bird, as a chicken, um, guards its hens. Not only in the New Testament, because Christ says it, but also in I think it's a similar passage in was it Enoch that somebody said it was like that. I don't remember, but at the same time, his truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Um, what are the 6 pieces of the armor of God? You have the breastplate of righteousness, the shoes of peace, the feet of peace, the helmet of salvation, the sword of the Spirit, the shield of faith, and the belt or the buckler of truth. Truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Just saying that, it's not like the Psalms made up one thing and then Christ said another thing. No, Christ was the Word made flesh. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. Just another one of those. You do not have to be afraid. There is no weapon. There is nothing that can be made upon this earth that can hurt you if you stand with God. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand. I cannot read today. But it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold, and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. Neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. I don't want to have to say it again. But I do find it. I'll just tell you the truth. I find it absurd when all of these churches, these preachers, these pastors, they all have taken this event that has happened over the past 2 years and they have said, we have to give up our faith. And I've heard that directly. Some of them have said, you have to postpone your faith so that we can get through this. They have put away their faith and told their people not to come to church to worship their God. And half of the people that are there have been told pretty much since they walked into that building that the only way that you can worship God is to walk into that building. But they have been told that because there is some phantom virus that's running through the world, that they need to stay home and stay safe. Not even remotely listening to the Bible when it says that you will be okay. You will be safe if you have faith and are with the Father and walk in truth. There is nothing that can hurt you. But of course, most of those people, they're not hearing the truth. They haven't heard the truth in forever. Especially if you're coming from one of these 501c3s, these 501, these May Day C333 churches. Oh, people don't like hearing that, but I don't care. That's what it is. You want to talk about coded numbers, coded numerology? It's right there in front of your face. 501 is May Day. It is a pagan holiday. 501c3, it's a 33. You've let your churches sell themselves out to the beast. And a lot of people think, oh, well, no, that's just for tax reasons. When you sell yourself out to the government gets to tell you what to do. That's exactly what that is. That's exactly what that is the government gets to tell your church what they get to say and what they don't get to say. There's been too many times I've seen people post letters, churches that have posted letters from their government saying, we need you to talk about this. We don't need you to talk about that. And it's their own fault. It's their own fault for getting themselves into it. They didn't know any better. Of course they didn't know any better because, they may not have seen it coming. They may not know what that numerology is. They may not know that, they don't need to worry about tax exemption status anyways. You don't need to worry about paying churches to have a church, or pay taxes to have a church. Just open a church. What's the deal? You don't have to worry about paying taxes or not. You can have it in your backyard of your house. It doesn't matter. You're not. Everybody loves to use the old Romans. What is it? Romans 6, I think is what it is. Everybody loves to use the old, submit to your government. Do what you're told. But no one ever likes to talk about the fact that all those early apostles, all those early church fathers, never once listened to what the government told them to do. Did Peter ever just stop and think, oh, hey, the Romans want me to stop preaching in the streets, so I'm just going to go ahead and stop preaching in the streets? Did he ever say that? Did any of them ever say that? Did Paul ever stop and say, oh, wait, they don't want me to go town to town and preach all this. I'm just going to go ahead and stop because they don't want me to do it. I got to follow the rules. I'm going to go into secret. No. The reason that you hear that all of them got killed for their faith was because they didn't listen to their own government. You think Christ was listening to his government whenever he was flipping tables in the temple? You see, you've not only have we let the government, let the evils of this world take over the churches. We let them take over the churches years ago, but when we came to America, whenever everybody came over to America, and I'm not talking about the nightmare scenario America stuff that happened whenever people were fleeing Europe because they wanted to worship in their own way. They wanted to actually worship the book the way that they wanted to. When they came over here, they were absorbed into the system through this text-based nonsense that they didn't need in the first place. They were worshiping the way that they needed to. But then, of course, when, and I'm going to say it was around the Revolutionary War. Whatever happened in the 1800s, I mean, we talk about this all the time, is something happened that the evil ones of this world saw that, there was power in people getting together, worshiping however they wanted to, building churches out in the middle of nowhere, going out, worshiping, doing what they needed to do, and there was power in that. That's how people say, well, this was a Christian nation, founded by Christians. Oh, I'm sure it was at one point in time. But then somebody somewhere was led to believe, through false teachings, that they were to submit themselves to their governments. And that was whenever your problems started. That was whenever things started changing. That was whenever they started coming in and telling these people, if you're going to do this, you got to worship this way. Tell your congregation to do this. Tell your, make sure you tell them that they have to stay home, stay safe. It's unbelievable. It flows along with the saying, if you had faith as even a seed of, or seed of mustard seed, whatever. You do not need to submit yourself to this government. Paul said that to the Romans because he was seeing his people in Rome. These letters were written to very specific people. The Colossians, the Romans, what was the other ones? Corinthians. These are people. The Hebrews. These were actual people that letters were being written to on how to follow Christ now that Christ was a thing. And he was writing letters to the Romans, to his people in Rome, telling them, because they were being killed, because Rome wasn't putting up with the crap. Rome was taking them out in the streets and killing them on the streets. He was saying, look, just submit yourself to your government, but do not give up submitting yourself to Christ. He didn't want to see his people getting killed. That's all that was. That doesn't carry over to now. And nothing in the Bible says that we have to give up everything to our governments just because they have to. It's stuff like that. It's people that teach that that preach that start saying, well, if you're going to give it up to your government, you might as well go ahead and give yourself up to science. Give yourself over to all of this other garbage that they say is okay for you. How do you know it's okay for you? We are dealing with lies upon lies upon lies. And you want to come and tell me that I'm just supposed to submit myself to it? That, again, I'm supposed to trust in the inherent goodness of people, even though the Bible says there is no inherent goodness in people? Just trust that there's inherent goodness in people and it'll be okay. They're not out there to hurt you. They're out there to help you. There is nothing in the Bible that says that. It says that people are trying to get along in their ways, but that many men are corrupted in their hearts and will do whatever their hearts tell them to do because their hearts are corrupted. That's what the book says. So you have to become something new, something better in order to move out of the sins that your heart, that corruption that you have to move out of that. You have to become something different. And we have a way to do that now. We become something different in the blood of Christ. He washes us clean, and he puts the law that everybody says is not supposed to be there anymore. He puts the law in our minds and in our hearts, and he creates in us something new. He creates in us a new heart so that we can walk along this world as something better than we were. Because he takes that away from us. There's nothing that says, once you get to this point, just go ahead and submit yourself to the government. It's okay. Because you know what? If you submitted yourself to the government, the first thing they're going to do is tell you to stop worshiping God. That's what they want. That's what they've always wanted. I have said this one within the past couple weeks. I don't know if I've said it here or not. That I might have said it yesterday. That we are supposedly, America was founded as a Christian nation by Christians, by white Christians. Yes, I get it. Supposedly founded by Christians that did not like to be burdened by the slavery of taxes. That's what it is. It's slavery. They knew something that was happening. Way more than we do. So what they did was these Christian men that were told to submit themselves to the government, they just sat on their hands, and Thomas Jefferson just wrote this Declaration of Independence, but he kind of tucked it away into his drawer, and they lived happily ever after the end. That is absolutely not what happened. All these Christian men that knew that they were supposed to submit themselves to the government got off their asses, and they fought in a revolutionary war for your freedom. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But you're going to sit there and tell me to submit myself to just go along with the flow, to go along to get along. But then you won't let me tell you that that's not the way it happened. These people fought for their freedom. They fought against their government. They didn't do what their government wanted them to do because they knew that they could. They prayed to God. They prayed to the Father about what to do, and God said to fight. If you want to believe the story. I'm just trying to make a point. I'm not saying it's true or not. I'm just saying that these people fought for what they wanted. They didn't just roll over, lay down, and do nothing. What about all the soldiers that go off to war? The good Christian soldiers that go off and fight in the wars. Where are they going? It's not It's not every single person that joins the army is a Satan worshiper. It's not that. It's never been that. These good, wholesome Christian families that have legacy generations of soldiers in their families that go off to wars all the way back to, there's guys that can trace themselves all the way back to the Civil War. What about them? They're not following the book, apparently, by submitting themselves to the government. You you either fight for your rights, fight for your freedom, or they will take it away. And the Bible says clearly that if there is an army that believes in God and that follows his rules and laws, there is no other army that can stand in its way. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 had a sneeze there. Wow. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Wow. That sneeze came out of nowhere. Ooh, those are usually the worst, too. Hey, you know what? Here's some dead air for you. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. Any army that walks with the Father, that follows his laws and statutes and commandments, can never be hurt. And that at any time, if the people will turn away from their sins, will turn away from what they were, and come back to him, he will deliver salvation unto them. It says it plain as day, over and over and over. Yes, it also says that there will be an end times. There will be an end times, and that the Father will come back and he will tear this whole place down, and that he will take the wicked ones and throw them into an eternal lake of fire, and all the, yes, it says that as well. Nothing that says, other than beliefs that there is a 7,000 year period of time, which we don't even know if that's real or not. Even though the Bible alludes to it, it doesn't say it specifically. But it says that at that end time, it will be like that. And that those signs in the sky and all of that will be there for us to be able to see. Do I see it? Yes, I see it. I absolutely see it. Does that mean that it's going to happen tomorrow? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I consider that a warning. I consider that a warning just like all the rest of them. I think that's part of the thing that we're supposed to preach. Is that yes, there will be a tribulation, there will be a reckoning, there will be something that will tear this whole place down. And it will happen. That doesn't mean that it has to be right now. That doesn't mean that. I almost wonder if it means that it needs to happen at all. Because God said, Nineveh, I'm going to burn that place to the ground. And he told Jonah, he said, go tell them that I'm going to burn this place to the ground unless they turn. And Jonah went, survived in the belly of a fish, came out. I still kind of like the understanding that, when he came out the other end of it, he may very well have been, a walking dead man, That would probably be one of the few ways that the people there would have looked upon him and said, "Oh my God, God is real," because people need a sign. So, they see this half digested dude walk out of the belly of a fish, and they're like, this guy's telling us we need to be better. Heck yeah, man, let's be better. So, I still think it's possible to turn it. Do I think it will? Probably not. Probably not because we've fallen so far at this point that it's going to happen exactly the way it says it's going to happen. So I am preparing myself for the worst. Is what I'm doing, but I am still preaching the word. I'm still going to try. There's people that have already given up. People that have absolutely already given up. They just say, "Oh, don't worry about it. These people can't be saved." That it's coming. There's already people out there that are saying, "Don't worry about preaching the truth. Just worry about your salvation." Then there's other people out there that are saying that, you need to start preaching that God comes faster. So, okay, that's fine, I guess, but in the meantime, the only way to save people is to pull them out of deception. So, what are you doing? What exactly are you doing for the Father right now? Are you telling people the truth, or are you telling them to go along with the lie just so that we can get to the point where you get saved? To where a lot of people think that we just magically get raptured off the earth and we don't have to worry about it. Because again, I have problems with that myself. I don't see any place where it says that you're going to magically get raptured off of the earth and that you're going to miss out on all the good stuff. I'm just taking it day by day at this point, and I'm trying to save people, and I'm trying to give information to people that they can turn around and give it off to somebody else. That way, maybe they could save somebody. I don't know. You can't just give up. It blows my mind when people just want to give up. They just want to say they just want to say, just let it go. The Father will come and we'll all be saved. And it just blows my mind when people want to say that, and especially the ones that say pray for him to come faster. It's like, okay, I get that. That's even biblical too. Or something in there says, if you to, I think it wasn't even in here that, or was it? Oh man, where was it? I thought it was in the last one. It might still be in the last one. I don't know, but it was something where it was, about things getting cut off sooner than they should. And I'm looking and I'm not seeing it. So it might have been before that. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, anyways, though, man, there's nothing to be afraid of. You don't have to submit yourself to this. Don't submit yourself to losing your freedoms, especially at the cost of worshiping your Father, worshiping God. God says you don't need to fear anything. So why are you fearing going to church? Because your government that you're not supposed to worry about submitting yourself to tells you, even that's a contradiction. You know, the a contradiction within itself where it says, fear nothing, fear no man, fear no plague, fear no whatever. Just don't fear anything. Oh, but wait, hold on a second. You better make sure that you do what your government tells you to do because you might die. That's fear. That's control. What are you gonna do if you don't do what the government says? They're gonna take you. They're gonna lock your ass up, and they're going to make you and force you to do what they want. Are you going to let them force you to go against your God? And that's where a lot of people like to, they like to say, well, no, if it goes against God, then I'm going to have to defy them. Well, okay, but how long is that going to take? You're already defying God now by, you know, not worshiping. Doesn't make any sense. You're defying God now, period, by just submitting yourself to this lie. Pick a side, man. Pick a side. I'm not saying that everybody has to go out in the world and immediately become, rebellious. There's some people think that as soon as you become rebellious, then you're, you know, immediately, some kind of sinner. There's nothing that says, that, even though rebellion leads to it. But there's also nothing that says that you just have to willfully submit unless God puts you there because you've not listened to Him. That's why I always say, pray. Ask Him what He wants you to do. Ask Him what He wants you to do. And if He wants you to fight, then you need to make sure that when the time comes, you need to fight. You need to stand up for what you believe. I'm not trying to keep what I had. I'm definitely not trying to keep what we had. What we had was pretty messed up and pretty bad. We're never going to get to go back to that point. That's just a sad fact of life. Is that, moving forward, it's either tyranny or something else. That's just the way it is at this point in time. We're never going to get to go back to the fun and freedom and all the stuff that we ever had. It's just not happening. So you have to start preparing yourself for where we're going and what we're doing. And you have to have God behind you on this one. You have to know what you're going to be doing. If you're submitting, enjoy your time in prison. If you're going to stand up to it and not give up everything that you believe because the powers that should not be are telling you to give it up, if you're not going to submit to that, then you need to make sure that you know what you're going to do, where you're going to go. I know I've said it at least once before that just because it says those that live by the sword die by the sword, nobody ever says those that die by the sword don't get saved. I have not read that yet. If it's in there, then it's in there. But as far as I am concerned, as far as my life is concerned, when that time comes, when I am told that I need to head to the hills, I'm not hesitating to fight for my rights to be free. They're not going to put me in a cell and then because of some magical craptastic law that was written before I was born, they get to do whatever they want to do with my body. This is my body, not theirs. That's something to think about. Something to think about. I am not trying to force anyone into any kind of rebellious act that they don't want to be in. I'm just trying to tell you that you're going to have to make that decision. And that decision is going to come, and it's either going to be a submission or it's going to be a fight. Nothing wrong with trying to protect your life. Especially if you walk in faith, there's nothing wrong. So you're going to have to pray and figure that out for yourself. and see what the Father says, whatever the Father needs you to do. Because again, don't pray for things for yourself. Ask the Father what you need to do for Him first, and then if there's nothing that you really need to do for Him, then you say, okay, well then here's something that I need for you to do for me. Sounds good, right? And I could be way off base. I probably could, but you know, we're just getting that point to where it's either fight or flight, and either fight, flight, or submit. And there's a lot of people right now that because they've been told their entire lives that they're supposed to submit, they're just willfully and ignorantly leading themselves to the slaughter. And it's like a deceptive suicide. That's the most tragic part about it. It's like a deceptive suicide where people don't know what they're doing to their bodies and they're submitting themselves and it's killing them. It's a deceptive suicide. Because they submitted. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. To keep thee in all thy ways. Wow. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. And it almost sounds like something changed somewhere, and I'm not seeing where it changed, where this sounds like it's God talking to us. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. Unless that's us talking about God. Or talking to God. I do still think that there are parts of the books that there were mistranslations. We know this. But there were parts of the books that I think that when they were translated, it's like the difference between because of the way the Bible's set up, because they try to pack it all into one book. They put, just like this one is, there's 2 lines on each page, and there's 4 lines per, when you open a Bible, there's 4 lines on each thing. But when it was written, if it was, let's just say it was written like a script, and with anybody was talking, it would be in the middle, because in a script, it's everything that's descriptive of what's happening is just written like normal, but when somebody's talking, it's written in the middle. It's like center aligned. And I've always wondered if there were places in the Bible where it was set up similar to that, but that got lost in the pages, because I've never seen the actual scripture. I've never seen the actual pages before, so I don't know if maybe the Hebrews had some kind of indentation thing that they did while they were writing, or something else that showed that somebody was writing, and you get things like that where it's like a psalm will be talking about one thing, but then it starts talking in the first person. and you have to wonder, who's this person talking? Is it God talking? Is it someone talking about God? I don't know. Things to explore, things to find out about. Um, Sadly, it's just another one of those things that may lead you to it may lead you to just another one of those churches that just wants to lead you astray. That's just kind of been my biggest problem over the past couple of years, 3 years, 4 years when I started actually, is that when I was working from the office and I was listening to the Bible, which is still a legitimate way of reading a book. Don't ever say it's not. And I've already said that there's something subconsciously that happens. Um, if you just listen to it constantly, and I was listening to it constantly. But if you listen to it, it sinks in. It sinks in, and you start getting those general ideas over and over again. And you start hearing those things, and especially if you're praying and asking God to help you hear those things, He'll make sure you hear what you need to hear. But what was happening was, I was hearing these things and I was understanding these things, but everybody always seemed to want to ask me who my teacher was. Who's teaching you? Who's making sure that you're getting the right information? And I'm like, nobody. I'm reading the Bible, and the Bible's speaking for itself. The Bible translates itself to you. I don't need an intercessor. It's me and God. And it just kind of went on like that, where it was like, well, you need to make sure you have a good teacher to teach you how to read the book. It's like, no. The book kind of says that I can understand it myself. I am probably going to be helped more if I gather with people, but I don't need a teacher to help me understand a book. But then, of course, we have preachers in the family, and you go to them, and they're telling me different things than I was reading, and trying to talk to them to get them to understand. Well, then, if you're saying one thing, why does this say another thing? And then they'll pull out some translation of some Bible, and it's just like, but that's not what it says, and what you're reading is an addition to the book. Then of course it's, oh well, you'll have to keep studying, as if they're kind of subtly saying, you don't know what you're talking about, you need to learn more. And I'm like, that's been the problem I've had since the very beginning of all this, is that everybody wants to teach you one thing. And while it sounds good, it doesn't make sense whenever you actually go back and just read the book for yourself. Just read the book. I'm not trying to tell anybody to follow my doctrine. I'm telling you to read the book for yourself, and find out what it means to you. If you read the book, and if you go to church on Sunday, and if the preacher, pastor, whatever you want to call him, starts talking to you, and if you can put it together with what you read in the Bible, good on you. Go for it. That's great. But for the people that know that, first of all, there will be a deception of preachers and pastors that will preach the word but will be preaching soft words that tickle people's ears. They will not be hearing the truth, but they will be hearing a soft version of God's word. You know, for those people that know that that's going to happen, we can, we're able to see past that, and you have to be able to put it together for yourself where you are in that. I guess that makes sense. I kind of lost my train of thought there. And I'm not going to sit here and turn anyone off anything. You can figure out anything you want. I am not the best teacher for anything. Anything ever. I am talking from my experience. And my experience has been that just about every teacher I've talked about this has tried to lead me away from what I simply read in the book. And if I'm being led away, what does that mean? If I'm simply trying to find the truth, and I read it and I see it, yet I'm being moved away from even just the simple truth. What does that mean? You know, what is the reasoning of these men that when I say I found something and it's clear as day, plain as day, don't do this or don't do that, but they want to, they want to use almost the same exact scriptures to say, well, it doesn't say that. What does that mean? You know, I could do the pork thing all day. I could do the unclean meat all day, and you know, I just for example, the one time that I was like, so I mean, are we supposed to eat pork or not? And I was told, well, yes. I said, where? I said, it's right here. And he said, and that was when he made all meat clean. And I was like, but that's not in the Bible. He said, yeah, it is. It's right there. I said, no, it's in that translation. It's in parentheses. You can read it right there. So you go to the KJV. And, I mean, go to an earlier example. I mean, go further than that if you want to. But not many people own a Septuagint. I'm sorry, they don't. I still don't own one yet. There's other people that talk about going further than that, but still, somebody mentioned to me having a Tisdale Bible, but that's like broken English. That's crazy stuff. But I was like, no, just go one translation up. That's all you have to do. It takes those parentheses out of there. Well, you see, it's not that, if you take it into context. And I said, take it into context. I said, just finish the chapter. Finish the chapter where Christ is talking to the Pharisees that came in, and they were complaining to him that his men were not washing their hands before they ate. And they were telling him, they cannot eat with unclean hands. And, Christ said something along the lines of, everything that goes into a body cannot hurt them because it just goes through and it comes out the other end. It's what comes from the heart that hurts people, that hurts a man. And sure, you could take that as that. But if you keep following it down, his disciples asked him specifically, what does that mean? And he said the thing about, what comes from the heart is what hurts somebody, and everything else goes through the drought. He said you cannot be harmed by not washing your hands. He specifically says you cannot be harmed by not, something similar to that. And when you dig down into that, you find out that, the Pharisees, the Jews, made rules past the point of, the law that was written, that said that you need to wash your hands for every event because you're supposed to be clean. Because one of the laws was, if you get, anything unclean on your hands, that, you basically had to wash yourself, and then you were secluded for 7 days. But a lot of these guys didn't want to be secluded for 7 days, so you had to wash your hands constantly to be clean, over and over and over again. These guys were like, as soon as you touch something, you had to go wash your hands. Or, when you ate, you had to wash your hands before and after. You went to the bathroom, wash your hands before and after. It's just, you just didn't want to be unclean. Which again, I think it's interesting how much hand washing has been thrust upon us in our life. And yet Christ simply sat there and said, it don't matter if your hands are dirty. You're going to live. You're going to live if your hands are dirty. That's basically what he said. But, this wasn't about, him making all animals clean. They weren't even talking about, the only thing that had to do with anything was that they were eating. But in the, what is it, the NIV? The NIV, there's these little parentheses right there, and it said, and thus he made all animals clean. But it's not in any translation before that. But that was what I was told was the kicker. We'll see right there, that's what it says. It's like, but that's not what it says. This is the kind of stuff I've been fighting since I came into this. No, I don't have a teacher. I've never had a teacher. I've watched YouTube videos, but I watch both sides because I want to hear both arguments. Because if I'm doing something wrong, I want to make sure I hear the other side. I'm one of those guys that I like to hear both sides. I don't just automatically believe that the earth is flat. I had to listen to both sides. I don't automatically believe that there were giants before the flood. I had to listen to both sides. I didn't automatically believe that I had to get rid of Christmas and Easter and all the other pagan holidays. I listened to both sides. I went through so many debates of people that both sides were talking that I was able to come to my own conclusions that, for starters, this person says this person says that, but then I turn around and say, well, then guess what? The Bible says that too. Well, son of a gun. So, I don't think you need a teacher for that. I think you can make up your own mind. I really do. So, I don't want anybody to listen to me. I don't want anybody to listen to me. I need you to go out and find it for yourself. And if you find out that I am wrong, then you can either come back here, tell me I'm wrong, and then leave, or you can just leave. It doesn't matter. I don't, I'm trying to help. If I can't help, then I'm sorry that I'm doing it wrong. But this is just my life. This is just my channel. This is just the way I'm putting it together, and it just is what it is. I'm trying here, Again, I don't have all the answers. I don't know. I don't have all the answers here. I really don't. I'm trying to find all the answers, just like everybody else. Some people are so sure of themselves, though. Some people will just say, "Oh, this is this and this is that and that is this and this is that," and I'm like, "How do you know? How do you know?" Because I look at the same exact thing and I don't see that. You know, I am definitely not going to be one of these guys on on either some of these YouTube pages or some of these Facebook pages, these groups that will definitively say, this is this and this is that and that is this is that. And I'm like, how do you know? You know, the quote is, only a Sith deals in absolutes. But but I'm just, how do you know? I don't think we even know a third of it, because it's just, when you look at the world, you can see a lie, and if you can't see a lie, then you're just kind of stuck in it. And I'm sorry, it's just kind of the way it is. I wish everybody could see the lies that's out there, and they don't even have to be lies. It's just that things don't look right. But people just don't want to see it. They don't want to see it. I can tell you why. People don't like hearing it, but it is what it is. But I'm starting to believe, I'm really, really, really starting to believe that concept that the people will not hear the truth because they choose to live in the lie. I think I said it perfectly the other day when I said, I see past the lies. Therefore, I'm trying to find the truth. Other people see what they want to see in order to help them live in the lie. People don't like hearing that, but it is what it is. That they see what they want to see. They hear what they want to hear. They would rather have those, or they'd rather have those soft words that tickle your ear. The soft words that make you feel better. Which I think part of that is I can be bad Monday through Saturday just as long as I clean myself up for Sunday. to quote to quote Monster Magnet again, people go to sleep with the devil and then they cry, 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 or people want to. Oh no! Come on now. What was the line? People go to sleep with the devil, but then they cry, cry, cry when they don't greet the day with God. It's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. I just don't want people getting hurt. I don't want people getting hurt. I don't want people falling for deception anymore. And we're living it. We're living it every day now. And it just gets worse and worse. And hold on. But the deception just gets worse and worse, and it seems like the deeper it gets, the more people just don't want to see it. And it doesn't have to be fake. It doesn't have to be a lie. You just have to be able to see that one thing that doesn't look right. You don't have to believe everything is a fake. You just have to be able to see that some of this stuff just doesn't add up anymore. That's all I want people to see. It just doesn't add up anymore. Just break the spell. Break the spell, break out of the system, and just see that Maybe there's something else going on here. But again, people just don't want that either. I don't know. I've been talking a lot. I'm kind of drained now because of all this, like I always get. Uh, Again, I don't have the answers, man. I'm trying to find them for myself, and I'm sure that the answers that I do find, I'm not 100%. You know, I'm just trying to figure my way through it. I'm not a hero. I'm not a savior. Forget what you know. Just a man whose circumstances went beyond my control. So, anyways, that's all that. Um, I don't have much else to say. I think I said a lot today. Some of it made sense, some of it didn't make sense. But it is what it is. I do so much trailing off that it's hard to figure out where to come back to where I was. But I guess more than anything else, it's find it for yourself. You know, my truth will never fit perfectly with somebody else's truth. We can have same ideas, we can have the same concepts, we can have the same theories, we can see the same lies. But that does not mean that your truth is ever going to match my truth perfectly. So we're all different. We can find that common ground without, completely killing each other because, we don't want to believe. So it's that kind of stuff that we need to find. At the same time, just don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't do. And I am definitely not coming from this do what thou wilt attitude. That's coming from don't let them tell you that you can't worship God. Don't let them tell you that you can't even look into, because there's people out there now that are saying you can't look into what's going on. And I find it interesting, for the past 5 years, they've been going out of their way to try to convince people that if you look into something, you are a conspiracy theorist. That you just need to trust what authority tells you. This has been going on for 5 years. Don't question anything. Don't question anything at all. Just listen to what we do. Anybody that questions authority might have a mental problem. I need to find those old those old news clippings. I'm sure I have several of them where I took a screenshot and they're on my phone. This is the stuff they used to say. If you think this way, you may have a mental disorder. If your family thinks this way, they may have a mental disorder. That's the way it's been. But they've been pushing that for the past 5 years. And then suddenly, out of the blue, this happens. And then, it's like, well, you can't question this ever. Don't question this. Don't worry about it. We have your best interests at heart. They don't. They don't, kids. They don't. They really don't. They have no need or desire. Well, first of all, they have no need to have your best interests at heart. If you don't understand that, you don't understand history. There has been no government in this world that has ever needed to have your best interest at heart. Only the perception that they have your best interest at heart. That's all it's been. They are just there for power, and they are just there for power to be able to rule over you. That's all it is. Some governments have a little bit less power, some have more. But it's always been about power. It's always been about ruling over people. What was the other thing I was going to say? I just had it, but then I lost it. Shoot. It was fairly good too, and I can't remember what it is now. Damn it. Um, I can't think of it. More than anything else, though, I just want people to know that this whole inherent good garbage, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. People want to save themselves. People I think there's a point where people don't want to see other people get hurt. But then, I mean, you can't say that about everybody. That's not that's not about everybody. If you went and said that, every single person in the world doesn't like to see, an animal die like a puppy, that's wrong. That's wrong. There's people out there just don't give a crap. There's people out there that want that. They are so deranged in their mind that they want that. So to even think that there are people out there that are constantly wanting good for people, that's garbage too. Because even the best people, now hear me out here. Hear me out. Even the best person that's out there that's giving away everything they can, doing whatever they can to help their fellow human being, will turn on everyone if their life depended on it. Is that true? I don't know. I don't want to say everybody. All right. Okay. Let me pull that back because if I can say, not every single person cares if a puppy gets killed, on that same token, there's got to be somebody out there that probably is a believer in God that gives away everything that they could possibly give away of their life and more, that is more than willing to die for somebody else. So no, not everybody. But it's not an inherent good because people will screw other people over in a heartbeat if their life's dependent on it. That's the way it's been. It's the way it's always been. There is a very, very small faction of people, that just will not do that. And usually those people are, they're religious minded, um, Christian minded, if you want to go that way. But they have something better in their lives. But the majority is just there to screw you over from top to bottom. I've seen it too many times. The best people in the world, that as soon as it came to the decisions that they had to make, they walk right in, steal the carpet out from underneath your feet, if they could, just to be able to get ahead. So, one thing you have to understand. This is gonna be the last thing I say because it's time to go to work. One thing you have to understand more than anything else, even though you think somebody's doing good for you, it does not mean that they are inherently good all the time. Some people are. Some very, very few. Again, very, very few are willing to lay down their lives for somebody else. But the vast majority of people are not doing everything they do for your own good. And you know the people I'm talking about. Millionaires, billionaires, If somebody is hoarding that much money and that much wealth and that much land and that much power, they're not good for you. So, with that being said, do you trust the people that are in your government to do right for you? And I'm going to end on that because I think that's probably the best thing to say. And I'm sure that anybody that heard that would probably not understand what I'm saying. I'd probably have to spell it out, in order for some people to really get it through their head. I'd probably have to spell it out and just say what I meant. But it's like, you got it. You know what I'm saying. That it's not. There is no man on this earth right now that's going to save you. You're going to have to save yourself. Stop trusting. Stop trusting that there will be people out there that are going to help you. You know, you have to do it for yourself first. And if you can find groups of people, great. But don't trust anybody. Just don't trust anybody. Be careful. Definitely don't trust people in power. That's all I got. People don't like to hear that message. I know. People don't like to hear any message I have, so it is what it is. But because if people like to hear my messages, then this channel would be taking off. But people don't like to hear my messages because I wouldn't say that I'm bitter and pessimistic. I'm actually doing a lot better than I used to. I'm just a realist. I've been screwed over enough in my life. I've seen enough people screwed over in my life. I've seen enough lies and enough deceits. And I've seen it happen. Too much. So all I can do is preach that wisdom to other people and hope that other people don't get hurt by it. And I'm here to preach another way too. So, anyways, I am going to stop now because we are there, man. I gotta go to work. Thank you guys for coming around and listening. God bless you all. Take care. Trust who you can trust. Love who you can love. But always use discernment in everything. Pray for discernment. Don't follow your heart. Your heart will only be there to lead you astray. Ask the Father to show you where to go, what to do. All right. I shall talk to you guys later. I love you all. Take care. Bye.